First, there was My Bloody Valentine, who returned after 20 years and gave us MBV in 2013. Then both Slowdive and Ride returned after a 20-year hiatus, each giving us an album in 2017. Both have continued to produce new music to this day, with Slowdive's latest Everything Is Alive out in late 2023, and Ride with a new one due shortly. Drop 19s have been a bit more elusive though. In fact, I didn't even realize they'd given us a new release until early 2024, and yet it dropped right around the same time as Everything Is Alive by Slowdive. Then again, Drop 19s have always seemed a little bit harder to pinpoint, unlike their contemporaries in shoegaze. The group is from stateside, hailing from Boston, so that's a bit different, and they took a near 30-year break, splitting in 1994 and returning with their first new material, as I noted, in 2023. The new album is called Hard Light, and I have it right here. I'm very excited to dig into it today for you. First up, after 30 years, the original lineup is minus drummer Chris Roof. Taking his place is Pete Coplin. The band features Greg Ackle, Steve Zimmerman, Paula Kelly, Peter Coplin, as I noted, Motohiro Yasu, and all lyrics are by Greg Ackle. Believe I'm pronouncing that right. Anyways, Greg never planned to return to music, and yet something drew him back. So first off, let's look at the A-side. It begins with the title track, Hard Light, and it opens with a definitively shoegazy guitar riff, echoing delay, and it's filled with subtle reverb. Equally dreamy vocals slip in, and I'm in heaven. I love this sound, and it reminds me a lot of Slowdive's more recent works, tracks like Prayer Remembered, Skin in the Game off of 2023's Everything Is Alive, or even Falling Ashes off of 2017's self-titled LP. Then it slips into the equally dreaming intro on Scapa Flow, which is followed by Gal. What struck me about these songs, in particular the latter, is that they almost seem to be channeling a bit of Yola Tango. The vocal inflections and styling sound like they could be drawn from a catchy deep cut from that band. It's a full-on compliment here. I quite enjoy Scapa Flow, and Gal is probably among my favorites on the album. Tarantula follows that, which gives me good mid-aughts, hyped-up emo pop vibes for some strange reason. It's a solid track, though each time I hear it, the abruptness of the ending just kind of trips me up. The song is churning, rocking, and it just ends mid-note. To further emphasize its oddity, the track doesn't even round out the A-side or the album. It's tucked comfortably in the middle of the A-side. Just kind of an odd observation there. Dig into The Price Was High, and it's like a different band entirely. Driving bass line, percussion that pushes just as hard, and an echoey vocal delivery, not from Greg, but from Paula Kelly here. The echoes, the overpowering instrumentation, it gives off Cocteau Twins vibes, if only due to the fact that the vocals are pretty much indecipherable. Rose with Smoke wraps up the A-side with a mellow instrumental that would really honestly make Slowdive proud. Let's pivot to the B-side. A Hitch and Lookout open the B-side, and again I'm reminded a bit of Yola Tango. In particular, some of the deeper cuts off of 1997's I Can Hear the Heart Beating as One. They have this mellowness to them, kind of punchy, yet quite chill at the same time. Not shoegaze in my opinion here, but something else. If you're aching for that shoegaze, we don't have to wait long, because Another dives back into the heavier, dreamier, more fuzzed out shoegaze elements that made longtime fans fall in love with Delaware. Another ends up being, again, one of the stronger tracks on the B-side. I love the guitar riff that carries the song out. It's got a great melody, and the swirl of the rhythm guitar in the background is just perfect. Policeman Getting Lost again brings back Paula Kelly on vocals, equally as dreamy and echoey as before. The music and lyrics on the song were actually written by the Clientele. And then T wraps things up nicely with a hefty, lagging percussive beat and super pleasant guitar melodies. Here, Ackle shares the vocals with Kelly, and that dual male-female vocals is just pristine. Mellow and soft for sure, and nowhere near a true rocker like some of the others on the album, but it's quite pleasant and a nice lengthy end to really what's a brilliant album. Now for my final thoughts. Overall, I don't think it's as powerful or as poignant as the band's widely acclaimed Delaware. But then again, you could say the same about MBV by My Bloody Valentine, Slowdive and Everything Is Alive by Slowdive, and Weather Diaries and This Is Not a Safe Place by Ride, and I'm sure the new one they've got coming out as well. These don't necessarily touch the pinnacle of these bands, especially those early days. Loveless, Nowhere, Souvlaki, and now Delaware. But an album like Hard Light is just on par with those others. MBV, the 2 by Ride, the 2 by Slowdive that I just mentioned. It is great in its own right. It's a solid comeback, and haters be haters, I love this album. I think it's a solid one to add to your collection. Even though it slips away from some of the shoegaze elements, it still has lots going for it. Like its shoegaze predecessors, Drop 19's returned with a powerful, more than worthwhile album. And it's one I'll be revisiting quite a lot this year. Had I snapped it up in fall of 2023, I'm confident it would have made my best of 2023 list. Will it hit my most played albums in 2024? Well, you'll have to subscribe and stick around a bit to find out. What do you think of the new album by Drop 19's? Did you know that Delaware actually has its first reissue out right now? I'll put a link to both this album and that one in the description below. I mean, it's from Amazon. It's where I've been able to find it. And full disclosure, I do earn from qualified Amazon purchases. I mentioned Everything Is Alive by Slowdive a few times. Next, why don't you check out my review of that and why I think Anthony Fantano is a little off base on his take on that LP. As one commenter noted, this dude's a damn nerd. I'm Andy, this is the FENSEPOST Vinyl channel, and I'll see you in the next video.